Well, hello, my remote students. It is so very nice to see you guys once again. I am so ecstatic to be back at school and to see all your guys' bright and beautiful faces. I just wanted to let you all know that these are recorded counseling lessons, and I thought this would be most efficient for you guys as remote students to do this whenever. You guys can wake up early in the morning and watch these, or you can do it just whenever. But today, this is called a book that I'm going to read. Normally, I don't read books for my older grades, but I found this book and I read it to myself and I'm like, whoa. So I'm going to read it to you guys. We'll only get about to page 28, but it's got a lot of great impactful things in with it. I understand starting the school year, school looks completely different with COVID and everything. So this book is a great reminder of how we can still be a light in the world, even though we may be unsure of something. So I'm going to share my screen to share the book. Let me see here. The book is completely in black and white, but I hope you guys are able to see my screen. Let me see. Awesome. So I hope we are seeing everything. And this book is called The Coffee Bean. And this is written by Jon Gordon and the Damien West. And they go around the world and they are reading these books to the NFL players because it's got such an amazing story to it. So I hope today we can learn together about what is about this coffee bean. So we're going to first start opening up with the coffee bean. So are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? Let's think about that. A carrot, egg, or coffee bean? Not quite sure at this point, but we'll wait and see what this is all about. Before I continue on, since you guys are at home, feel free to try this experiment and see if this book is correct. Might need some parents' help. It will talk about boiling water. So be safe and try it and let me know. So starting off, Abram usually loved science class, but not today. Today, he really hated science, school, and everything in his life. As his favorite teacher, Mr. Jackson, scanned the classroom, he noticed Abram was not his usual self. After class, he told him to stay behind and asked him what was wrong. Abram, whom everyone called Abe, told Mr. Jackson how stressed he was about school. He had upcoming tests, he had a big paper due, and not to mention, he was really nervous about the big football game on Friday night. Sounds like Abraham's under a lot of pressure right now. And we might feel the same way right now. With us learning from home, we're having to learn, how to get good with our computers and how to have that connection with our teachers. So we might feel a lot like Abraham right now, and that's totally great. And that's fine. Shall I repeat? It's fine. It's not great that you're feeling this way, but we all feel this way at some point in time. He dreamed of playing football in college and had heard that college scouts were coming to be at the game. A win also would bring his team one step closer to the state championships. To make matters worse, his parents were fighting a lot, and he even used the word divorce for the first time. Abe said he tries to ignore all of his problems and spends a lot of time on social media and watching videos, but this doesn't always help. It actually makes him feel more negative and depressed. It's hard living up to expectations everyone has when you are playing well, and it's even harder to hear all those negative comments when you are playing badly, he added. I know a lot of us will have a digital device, and sometimes when we are going through a hard time, it's not the best outlet to go on social media and try to leave it that way. We really need to talk to someone because we are here for you. Mr. Jackson nodded. He told Abe he knew exactly how he felt, and he went to the whiteboard and eased the scientific formula. He erased the scientific formula when he drew the picture of a carrot inside of a pot of water. What happens when you put a carrot in really hot water, Mr. Jackson asked. It gets hot, answered Abe. Well, it does more than just getting hot, right? I don't know. answered Mr. Jackson. I wanted you to go home tonight and try it and see what happens. So, for my remote friends at home, get out a pot, boil up some water. You can put it in a glass cup and put a carrot in. Let's see what happens. Abe said he would do it, although he was wondering how putting carrots in hot water was going to help him with his problems. Oh, and if you have never cooked before, ask for help. I don't want you to burn yourself, Mr. Jackson said with a big smile as Abe walked out of the classroom. The next day after class, Abe told Mr. Jackson that the carrot that he put into the hot water softened after about 10 minutes. Did you guys find the exact same results? Did the carrot soften after you put it in some hot water? Yes, the carrot was softened and weakened by its environments. It was impacted by the conditions it was in, said Mr. Jackson. Sort of like me, Abe said. Yeah, actually, just like you, Mr. Jackson responded, before going to the board, drawing a picture of an egg inside of a pot of water. So, that's your next quest. Put an egg inside of a pot of boiling water. Now, tell me what is going to happen when you put an egg inside of a pot of boiling water. Oh, this is an easy one, Abe said. You get a hard-boiled egg. Even I know that. Great, Mr. Jackson responded. The hot water causes the egg to harden. The egg is hardened by its environment and the conditions it is in. Unfortunately, it happens a lot to people as well. They become mean, angry, negative, and sometimes numb because of all the difficult environments that they are in. They grow up to hate life, and they hate people. Their hearts are hardened, and they lose the desire to love and be loved. I don't want this to happen to you, which is why I'm teaching you this lesson. I understand, said Abe, who was beginning to see why Mr. Jackson was telling about the carrots and the eggs. The carrot is weakened and the egg is hardened whenever it's put into hot water. I get it, Abe said. I don't want to be like a carrot or an egg. No, you don't, said Mr. Jackson. But there is one more part to this lesson. An experiment you need to experience and understand as well. Mr. Jackson erased the pictures of the pot with the egg, and then he drew a new picture with a coffee bean inside of a pot of water. So that's our next experiment. Get another boiling pot of water, put some coffee beans in. I bet most of your parents drink coffee. What happens when you put coffee beans in really hot water, Mr. Jackson said. I have no idea, answered Abe. Makes me kind of curious. What do you think is going to happen? Well, that's what you need to do next, Mr. Jackson said as he grabbed a few coffee beans from a jar on his desk and placed them in Abe's hand. Go home and put these in hot water for about an hour and tell me what happens tomorrow. And be careful you don't burn yourself, Mr. Jackson shouted as Abe left his room. The next day after class, Abe approached Mr. Jackson, and he excitedly shared that the coffee beans he put into hot water eventually turned the water into coffee. He knew ground coffee beans would make coffee. He said, but I didn't know a coffee bean would do the same. Did you guys kind of have a similar thought? We all knew that grounded coffee would make coffee. But did you know that a coffee bean could still make coffee when you put it in hot water? It's interesting. Yes, it works the same, Mr. Jackson said, but it just takes longer. It's like magic, Abe said. It is, Mr. Jackson said, but I prefer to call it transformation. He then went to the board and drew the picture of the three pots side by side with a carrot, an egg, and a coffee bean inside. It's one of the simplest, most powerful lessons you will ever learn, Mr. Jackson said as he pointed to the board. Life is often like a pot of very hot water. It can be harsh, it can be stressful, in difficult places. You will find yourself environments and facing conditions that test you truly who you are and change and weaken or harden you if you let them. Like all that stuff I'm going through right now, said Abe. Exactly, Mr. Jackson said. I'm going to stop right there. We are all going through something different. We could have emotions that we could feel like we can't be loved no more, or we're not so sure about this change. We might feel a little weak. We're just in a difficult time or a difficult place. But let's learn what Mr. Jackson is going to tell us. You are feeling the pressure of school, papers, and tests. You are feeling the heat that comes with the expectation of being great, being a great football player. You feel like your parents' marriage is about to boil over. The hate on social media and the negativity in the world is rising. It's all one big pot of boiling water. But you have a choice. You can be like a carrot that is weakened and softened by its environment. You can be like an egg that is hardened by its environment. Or you can be like a coffee bean that transforms its environment. And when I look at you, I don't see a carrot or an egg. I see a coffee bean who will overcome challenges and change the world. Mr. Jackson could not have said that more perfectly. My SES students, I see you all as coffee beans. I see you as bright individuals who are going to make this world a better place. We may not feel it in this moment, but we will get to be coffee beans and we will bright up everyone's world, even though we may be going through a harder time right now. I want you to remember this lesson for the rest of your life. Wherever you go and whatever you do, remember, you are a coffee bean. You have the power to transform any environment you are in. No matter how hard things get or how hopeless things look, don't give up. Realize that we don't create our world from the outside in. We create and transform it from the inside out. All starting from a little coffee bean. If you think you are a carrot, you will believe the power and forces outside you are more powerful than who you are on the inside, and you will become weaker. If you think you are an egg, you will believe the negativity in the world has the power to harden your heart and cause you to become negative like the world. But if you know you are a coffee bean, you will not allow the outside world to impact you. You will know that the power inside of you is greater than the forces outside of you. And with the insight, you will transform your environment in the world from the inside out. The power is on the inside. Be a coffee bean. Alrighty, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That's all the time we have for right now. That is such an amazing book. And I understand right now, learning looks completely different. If we are a carrot, we will let those things, these burdens, these difficulties soften us and we won't be strong. If we let all these difficulties like the egg, we'll become hard and we won't feel like we can be loved. But if we really strive to be that coffee bean, we will be great leaders. And here at Southeast, we are all coffee beans. So I would like for you guys to try those experiments at home. Please be careful with the boiling water, but just try it for yourself. Think. And then next time when we come, feel free to email me. You all have my email. Email me, what are some things that you can be like a coffee bean for? Or what are some things that, sometimes can make you feel like a carrot or even an egg? But yes, that is the coffee bean story, the first part. We will read the second part next week. And I wanted to let you guys and inform you for all of my remote friends. We are doing some hand signs. And so you might see in the classrooms when you're remoted in, some of your students might give in some hand signs to your teachers. And so you're like, what is that? So I'm just going to inform you what those are. So in my younger grades, we do something called zones of regulation. But sometimes with wearing a mask, I have my mask right here. You're not able to tell if I'm smiling or if I'm frowning or if I'm mad. You may be able to tell sometimes by my eyebrows and my eyes, but it is pretty hard to tell on how someone's emotions are. So we give up thumbs up when we are happy, calmed, feeling good, ready to learn. We give our wonderful peace sign when we are excited, silly, wiggly, and not feeling so focused. We give a fist if we're feeling sad, tired, bored, and just kind of moving slow. I know some Mondays people can move slow. And then we hold up a 4 if we're getting pretty mad, we're getting frustrated, we feel like we can just lose out of control. So if you see those in the classroom, that is kind of what it is. Feel free to sign to your teachers. Your teachers know about these signs as well. And to let you guys know, if you ever need to come talk to me, email me. My phone number is on the SES website page, but email may be the quickest way for you guys. I am so thrilled to see you all back in school, and I miss you all so dearly. In this book, The Coffee Bean, love yourself because I love you. So you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you next week.